What's going on, fellas? UFC 313 is in the books, and now we gotta go over some things for it here. We definitely had a lot of good fights, and I'm gonna just take some of them and go over them here. So the first one we're gonna talk about is Mario Santos and Francis Marshall. Now this one was a weird one because I know they gave Santos the win, but Marshall definitely won this fight by far. I'm not sure what was going on with the judges, but even the commentators were saying the judges got that one wrong. The second and the third round I would have given to Marshall. Definitely the first round would have gone to Santos. But still, that leaves the first round a little bit questionable. It could have gone either way, but Santos, I would have given it to. The takedown for Marshall had to count for something, and he actually did some good damage on the ground. And then the punch that put Santos on the ground also. For some reason, I was kind of overshadowed. But maybe I was watching a different fight from what the judges were seeing. But everyone agrees. I mean, even Dana White in the post-fight said, yeah, Marshall definitely won that fight. But, I guess that's one of the reasons why we're not the judges and we're just watching from the outside looking in. But hopefully Marshall definitely gets a chance to be in the UFC. I know that was definitely a big fight for both of those guys. But this one, the judges definitely got it wrong. Let's just call it what it is. Next up, we got Alex Morono coming out against Carlos Leal. Now, this one right here, Morono, man, he just came out looking a little anxious, almost as if he did not believe in himself or he had to do something big or something huge just to get, you know, Carlos's attention. Morono was a little too hyped up, I think. He was loading up on his shots. Leal was very calm. He waited for all of his opportunities. He was calculated, but he was still much faster than Morono. Picking Alex apart in this fight was definitely a theme. The body shots were doing all the damage, and those paid dividends very quickly in the first round. Alex, for the most part, he was just swinging for the fences. He really wasn't being tactical behind it. He's definitely hurt at, midway point of the first round. He's taken too much damage to the body, too many head hits, and all of that stuff. So, at this point, he's basically fighting for survival. He's no longer fighting tactically or anything. Morono, however, he just would not go down. There's a point where taking the extra damage doesn't make sense, and you kind of have to swallow your pride just a little bit to be able to go down and just, call it the end of the fight. Because that's very dangerous, man, taking all that unnecessary damage. But pure domination for Carlos. Morono was just throwing looping punches, like I said. Some landed, but for the most part, he got caught with the body shots and the shots to the head. And those paid dividends. He got knocked out standing on the feet. Well, he wasn't out cold, but TKO standing on the feet. All right, so next up, we got to go over to Bueno Ferreira and Armen Petrosyan. So this is another one of those fights where, Bruno is the shorter fighter, but he's able to get in and out of danger. He's able to get in to throw his punches and land them. He's able to get out of danger very quickly, landing really big punches, almost ended the fight in the first round, if we're being completely honest with ourselves. And after a couple of ball taps, he got kicked in the balls a few times. A point was kind of taken away from Armen. So at this point, Armen is under pressure. He has to pretty much do whatever he can to turn this fight around, because losing a point is really tough to recover from, especially in MMA, But what was weird is Armen turned it up in this first round. So the first round ended up being tied 9-9, which was actually an interesting feat to see. Bruno, on the other hand, his overhand right was a dangerous weapon. He kept landing that over and over. Armen, he got some really good body shots, and for some reason, one of the body shots, he kind of pretended that he was tapped in the balls, but it was clearly a good shot. He was not tapped in the balls. I think he just needed the break. I think he was just exhausted. But that one wasn't even close. Armen, he avoided the whole ground game the whole time, which was kind of obvious. I mean, Bruno's definitely the much better guy on the ground. But as soon as this fight went to the ground, it was the beginning of the end for sure. Armen gets caught in a armbar that almost broke his arm, actually. It was pretty bad. But that pretty much ended the fight in a submission. Armen, you can definitely see in the whole entire fight exactly why he was so focused on, or hell-bent on, the fact that let's not get this fight to the ground, because if it gets down there, you might be in trouble, man. And he went down there, and that was the end of the fight pretty much. So I think Bruno kind of got sick of exchanging the right hooks for the left hooks that were coming back to him, and he knew if this fight didn't go to the ground, he would just take too much damage. So very smart move on his end for turning that around. Very good fight, man. Very tactical fight. A lot of different people in MMA will do different things to garner attention. Some are very good at it. Some are not the best at it. Some kind of have to get better at it as they go. However, Bobby Green is one of those guys who simply has the respect from the MMA community. He comes in naming himself King Green in this one, and I think it was the wrong day to call himself King Green. I was very excited for this fight. I thought this was the sleeper fight of the night, 100%. Bobby, however, I think he was a little too confident, a little too cocky in this one, and he gets knocked out. There's no other way to put it, all right? The fight, not much really happened inside the fight, but this spinning heel kick touches him one time. He never seen it coming, and he's out on the ground, out cold. Knocked out completely. And, Mauricio Ruffy won definitely with some style points right here, and definitely in a style fashion. But maybe Bobby Green should just go back to being his old humble self, man. I know he's a trash talker and all that, and he's very good at it, but he always backed it up with the fighting. But after something like this, man, just come back to earth, man. That's all we got to say. Now, in the main event, we got also Jalin Turner. Well, in the pay-per-view, not the main event. But we got Jalin Turner, Ignacio, Bahamondes. Now, this one, you got a guy that's like 6'4" and a guy that's 6'3" who weigh 155. They're pretty big guys for the division. But Ignacio showed up, man. You got to give him all his credit right here. So did Jalin Turner. He just made a mistake that he couldn't get away from. But these guys came out and went right after it immediately. The striking looked really good from both sides, to be honest with you. And then the beginning of the end happens. The fight goes to the ground. Jalin actually ends up on top, but Ignacio is actually the one doing the most damage off his back on the ground. It was actually kind of interesting, and that's kind of where the fight direction kind of completely changes. So Ignacio kind of takes over even on his back, eventually sets Jalin up for a triangle. He gets him in that triangle. Beautiful ground technique. Man, great setup. Jalin never seen it coming, and the flexibility for Ignacio allowed him to sink that in even with those long legs. So, yeah. Jalin, he had two choices in that armbar. Break your arm or go to sleep. Or give up. 3 choices. Okay. But that was it. And he gave up, and that's the smart move. Live to fight another day. Jalin Turner will be back, man. He's an exciting fighter that everybody loves to watch fight. Let's move on over to the co-main event. Justin Gaethje and Rafael Fiziev. Ooh, this was a fun fight. Now, we all knew that these guys fought the first time. Okay, they fought one time in the past. And Justin Gaethje won that fight. In this one, Rafael Fiziev was only given a 12-day notice before he had to come in. Now, yes, he's always staying in shape, but not having a full fight camp on 12 days notice, man, you got to give this guy all the respect in the world, man. He's a tough guy, And we knew this fight would definitely give us some highlights. Rafael is definitely throwing a lot of the body kicks and the body shots, the left hook, right hook, all over the body. I honestly started thinking if anything was going to break Justin down in this one, it was not going to be headshots. It was going to be everything to the body would eventually just get him. Rafael was definitely far more technical in this fight. But like I said, man, only having 12 days notice, in the first fight, Rafael was kind of a loose cannon. This time you only get 12 days notice to fight Justin Gaethje, a much better Justin Gaethje. Of course, a much better Rafael Fiziev, but not fully in fight shape. You got to give him the respect, man. He came out, he was technical. He tried to pace himself and make sure that he didn't burn out or anything. Justin Gaethje was definitely working very hard to make this guy move around and do a lot more than he wanted to do because of the cardio. You have to know that cardio is definitely going to be a piece of the puzzle in this one. And in the second round, you start to see Rafael start to fade a little bit with the cardio. He gets caught with an uppercut that puts him down. And Justin was just, setting that uppercut up all the time. He kept throwing his body down to the right, and his head kept coming down. Now, Rafael definitely caught him with a knee, with Justin Gaethje always throwing that head down. He caught him with a really nice knee, and if he threw that a little bit more in that fight, he would have put Justin in a lot more danger than people might be expecting. So I'm actually shocked he didn't do that more often. Maybe that would have paid even more dividends had he done that more often. But the uppercut from hell, just like I said, put Rafael down, and that uppercut was completely clean. I mean, those body shots started helping a little bit. They started paying dividends, but it was too late. Justin's chin looks like it was completely back after being knocked out last year. In the third round, cardio once again was the problem for Rafael. With 11 seconds left in the fight, Justin Gaethje's just pouring it on, man. He's just one thing after another. He's not playing around. He's not waiting. He's not giving him time to breathe or anything. He's just coming after him. So we know Justin's chin is back. We know he can go 5 rounds. I mean, this one was only a 3-round fight. I wish it was a 5-round fight, to be completely honest. But his body looked really good. His cardio looks really good because taking that many body shots and those knees, that Muay Thai stance with those knees when they're up in the clinch, taking all of that and still being able to do the output that he did in that fight, man, he's in great shape, and it looks like he's fully back, man. And I hope we get to see him fight for a while longer. I know he's getting up there in age at 36 years old, but I hope he'll be around for a little while. All right, now we got to go over to the main event, man. Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev. Now, this one right here, I had a lot of questions about this fight before it even started. I was like, you know what? The leg kicks are going to be a problem for Magomed. But at the same time, what if this fight goes to the ground? We know that Alex Pereira got his black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but we haven't seen him really use that inside the octagon. So we don't really know what that looks like when he has another world-class Sambo wrestler on top of him trying to, take him out. So in the first round, my first thought was correct. Magomed is having an issue with these leg kicks. He's taking too many of them. He's starting to switch his stance a little bit to protect from that, which worked. And he definitely got quite a good bit of respect from Alex actually in this fight. And I was a little bit confused. And after a certain while, I was sitting there like, man, is something wrong with Alex? He doesn't look like he wants to engage. He's more focused on countering and just not engaging in this fight. And I was a little bit caught off guard by that. So in the first round, the leg kicks definitely did their job. Alex definitely won the first round. But in the second round, Magomed found his range. He's touching Alex now. He rocks Alex actually at the end of the second round. And in all honesty, if he had like another minute or even 30 seconds, that fight was probably going to get stopped and it was going to be over at that point. Magomed found something in this fight that Alex only happened to Alex from Israel Adesanya. Israel figured Alex out. He understood him, especially with the kickboxing backgrounds that they both have. But Magomed got something from Alex today that, like I said, only Israel ever got from Alex. He was able to touch him. He was able to find his distance. He was able to prevent him from striking back so much. He was able to get into danger and get out of there very quickly. It was just really interesting to watch, Magomed is putting on the pressure. Alex is the one actually backing up instead of initiating the attack. And when you're on your back foot, man, that gets exhausting, So I love the takedown defense that Alex had in the third round, but he was put up against the cage and, your muscles fill up with all that blood. You get really tired. Your body gets heavy. It gets really tough to fight out of that, And after the third round, I'm not going to lie, Magomed was up 2-1. No questions asked, And in the fourth round, once again, Alex gets put up by the sidewall. He looks gassed. Those muscles are filling up with blood. And maybe he's dealing with an injury at this point that I'm like, man, there's something going on that we just don't know that's going on with Alex because he's taken way too many pictures. He's just standing there looking at Magomed. He's not engaging. He's not starting any of the exchanges. He had some success when he did counter and sometimes even when he engaged, but it just wasn't enough in this fight. I'm glad Alex's corner was going over, he went to the corner after the fourth round. They're like, hey man, this is the last round. You got to get more aggressive. You're way too passive. You got to either go keep your title, meaning knock him out, or you're going to lose this. And they knew, they tried to give him hope, saying it was 2-1 at the end of the fourth round. It was clearly 3-1. I mean, anyone watching this knew it was 3-1, So we come out in the fifth round, and Alex lands this beautiful high kick on Magomed, and he gets Magomed's attention almost immediately. I mean, Magomed definitely starts backing up after this hit, like, oh man, I cannot take too many more of those. But it didn't really last that long. He was on his back foot for just a little bit, but then he started pressing forward and started putting Alex back on the back foot. He started touching Alex once again, and maybe one of those punches just got Alex's attention, like, man, I don't really want to be in danger with this guy. He can put me away. Something happened in the fight, man. Like I said, I don't know what it is. I'm still looking for that. I was hoping Alex would tell us at the end of the fight, but something caused him to be this passive. Something caused him to be not himself, And Magomed, man, you got to give him his credit, man. He did all this while fasting. Some of the days, of course, he couldn't fast because you got to make weight and all that stuff. And fasting can keep the weight on you at times. So, he had to do what he had to do. He'll have some days to make up for Ramadan, but that's okay. Obviously, we have a new champion in Magomed Ankalaev. He is your new light heavyweight champion, and the belt now goes through him. But I was still hoping to find out something from Alex, and we didn't get it. At the end of the fight, he said he was fine. He knew it would be a war. He didn't tell us anything if he got hurt, maybe in training or something like that, or if there was something going on that caused him to be so passive. We got nothing. Man, we got nothing. It was honestly confusing for me to hear personally, because it really wasn't that great of a fight from Alex's perspective, man. If there was nothing wrong with him, today was just not his night. Today was just Magomed's night. And we might see a rematch in this one, but Magomed has all the confidence now, and he knows exactly how to fight Alex now. He can put him up against the wall. He can do whatever he wants at this point. He can strike with him as long as he doesn't get in danger. Alex is going to give him that respect. So this is going to be an interesting thing to see if it will happen again as a rematch. But let's watch and find out. Thank you very much for your time today, guys. Definitely like and subscribe, and we will have much more coming for you. Have a good one.